morning everyone. Today on the Gabe and Harrison show we will be talking about one of the most famous men from European history. That is, William the Conqueror. Now, he was not always known as a conqueror of the most powerful country in the world. He had to earn the title of conqueror. Believe it or not, soon after he was born in 1027, William I was given the epithet William the Bastard. This was due to the fact that his father was Robert I, Duke of Normandy, and his mother was Robert's girlfriend, not wife, Erleva. When his father died, he named William the Duke of Normandy. William was now alone in the world, an 8-year-old illegitimate son with countless cousins, uncles, and nephews who wanted to kill him and take over his reign. So, how did he survive? Well, first we have to look at his family. His mother did her best to protect him, but it was really the work of her brother Walter that kept him alive. You see, Walter was a peasant, so he had nothing to gain from William's death. He advised the boy duke on how to use troops and resources to protect his control over Normandy. As William grew older, he began to take more and more control of his troops. He proved to be a ruthless and tough commander. He squashed his enemies, tearing them apart in the battlefield, and never taking prisoners or backing down. Due to his bellicose nature, his enemies surrendered quickly and pledged fealty to him. Historically, if a rebellion leader did not yield, a ruler would storm their castle and demand they kneel to them. However, William the Bastard was so feared that he only had to do this once to Guy Burgundy, who humorously enough was not even fighting to become the duke and did not even have a new duke in mind. Guy Burgundy simply disliked William because of his illegitimacy. William stormed his castle and murdered all of his men. However, Guy Burgundy was able to escape and spend the rest of his life in exile. With his power growing in Normandy, William encountered an unexpected enemy, the King of France. I am calling in my expert in French history for this one. I'm going to switch places with Gabe Campbell because this room is actually a small closet.
Hi, I'm so glad to be on the Gabe and Harrison show. Let's begin. Now, as you mentioned, the French king was coming for William. King Henry called upon the primary rebellion leader, Geoffrey Martel, to help him invade Normandy. William took his army to the west, where the king was rapidly approaching, and sent his loyal bannermen, who were once his uprisers, to the east, where Geoffrey Martel was barreling towards them. William quickly defeated the king's forces, while his forces in the east struggled to take on Martel. Eventually, Martel lost, but he retreated north, where the king's forces met him. They teamed up and attacked Normandy again a little more than a year later. They believed that William would be unprepared, but the bastard completely destroyed them once more, ending the last invasion of Normandy for more than 40 years. Alright, that's all my time. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Mr. Campbell. Now time to get to some conquering. When King Edward I of England was on his deathbed, he named his cousin's son William Duke of Normandy, heir to the throne. Europe was shaken. Since King Edward was childless, he had the right to name any relative as heir. However, William was a duke in a foreign country, and the dead King Edward had many other lords who believed they deserved the throne. Enter Lord Godwin, Earl of Wessex. Lord Godwin's daughter married King Edward and had provided the king with countless troops and other resources. Godwin had his son Harold named king and called upon his allies to help defend England. The Earl died soon after, but this did not discourage Harold. Harold sent his brother Tostig to secure the eastern border, but he was not very successful. Tostig retreated to Scotland, and William began making his own preparations. He called for a meeting of his nobles, and they were not big fans of his plans to invade England. They told him they simply did not have the numbers or ships. William was not entertained by their lack of hope. He had them train an army and build thousands of ships from scratch. In 2.5 decades, a bastard had taken over Normandy, defeated all of his rebels, taken on the King of France and won, and even been named King of England. It only made sense that he was able to create an unprecedentedly powerful army in just 9 months. He began preparing for war in early January, and at 0900, on the 14th of October, the Battle of Hastings had begun. Although William had more soldiers, Harold was more prepared. His soldiers formed a crescent around the Duke's troops, killing them with ease. William was not fazed. He had his men retreat, and Harold thought he had already won. This confidence would be his downfall. Harold had his soldiers chase after William and his men, falling right into the Duke's trap. As the Norman soldiers were surrounded, William's cavalry appeared over the horizon. They flew towards the battle, saving the day and killing Harold's soldiers. According to legend, during this moment, William, Duke of Normandy, the bastard who would be king, shot Harold through the eye with an arrow. Not long after, William marched on London. With no one left to contest him and the entire English army dead, William the Conqueror sat upon the English throne. Although there would always be resistance to the bastard's rule, William squashed anyone who posed a threat. He was one of England's greatest kings, and it all started with the illegitimate son of Duke Robert I.